Defense Code Web Security Scanner, or WebScanner for short, is a dynamic application security testing solution. WebScanner is a desktop-only application. The user interface contains several tabs with different purposes, and we will go through each one before we start a scan. The first tab is the Vulnerability Scanner. This is the tab where all the action happens: setting a target, starting a scan, reviewing the results, etc. Scanning options contains all the advanced options related to dynamic testing. On your left side, you can see several categories of scanning options. Crawling and proxy refers to all the crawling related settings, such as maximum links to be crawled, crawling depth, custom 404 not found messages, browser impersonations, proxy settings. Authentication and cookie settings refer to settings related to authenticated dynamic testing. You can set cookies, certificates, or actual credentials for HTML form authentication or basic authentication. Exclusions can be used to limit the scope of the scan by excluding certain file types, paths, or parameters. Vulnerabilities refer to the vulnerabilities that you want to scan for. You can include some of the vulnerability types that are excluded by default, or exclude some of the vulnerability types that are included by default. Vulnerability test groups refer to several methods that you might want to include or exclude from the test depending on the nature of the test. Automated actions refer to automated actions of saving and creating a report for the scan. Generated reports can also be automatically emailed in addition to actual saving. Project presets refer to loading or exporting all the options that you previously saw. You can save any presets for any of the target websites and load them when necessary. Report Generator tab enables you to generate a report for a finished scan. The report can be generated in three available formats. These are HTML, PDF, and XML. All it takes to generate a report is to click on the Generate Report button. Proxy Crawler tab serves to manually capture requests or manually browse to the website while proxying to WebScanner proxy. These requests are then used during the scan. You can also simulate any authentication requests and capture the actual authentication process. Tools contain several tools that can be useful during testing process. These are Encoder Decoder, Request Composer, Authentication Testing based on word lists, URL fuzzers, also word list based, as well as the authentication capture. To actually start a scan, you will input a target website. Click Start. web scanner will first perform a crawling action. Once it crawls the maximum number of links, it will start testing for vulnerabilities. Some of the vulnerability types are detected while crawling. As the scan might take several minutes to finish, we will stop the scan in order to demonstrate individual vulnerability review. Defense Code supports over 50 vulnerability types. Some of those are listed as findings on the tree view that you see on the left side. By clicking on any of the sub-items under the vulnerability type, you can see the vulnerability details. You can see the actual URL that was tested. You can see the arguments used in that request. You can see the vulnerable parameter where the vulnerability was found, as well the vulnerability match, or how the vulnerability was discovered in the response of the server. You can review detailed HTTP request and HTTP response. You can find the actual match of the vulnerability, in this case cross-site scripting. You can choose to send the request to the request composer to repeat the requests in order to verify the vulnerability again. Vulnerability detail also contains HTML preview of the page. This level of detail is available for each of the vulnerability types found. In addition to manual scan runs, you can also choose to schedule a scan. Scan scheduling uses the Windows native scheduler in order to start the web scanner process and execute the scan. Scan scheduling should be used in combination with automated actions to automatically generate a report or save the scan when the scan is finished.